Hey everyone, Mr. Lopez here. We are not having our live class this week because I am giving a mock star to some of my TIVA students during our normal time on Wednesdays. So we have this recording instead. A few updates and information about extra credit, which several people have asked about. For this week, we are going over the 70s and the 80s. You have your reading review quiz number 13, and you have your Nixon discussion due this coming Sunday at 11:55 p.m. So please make sure that you work on those. You might have heard, if you are a TIVA student, that you were needing to take a mock EOC exam. That is not happening. So don't worry about that. There's nothing you need to do in relation to that. And if you're not a TIVA student, then you don't have to worry about it at all. So we have this week's assignments, important, and we'll go into detail on this in just a second, but due in less than a week on Tuesday, November 25th. You can also turn it in the Monday, the 24th, or even earlier than that if you like, is an extra credit assignment. And that is analyzing artwork. So we'll take a look at what that looks like in just a second. First, let's talk about the week we come back from Thanksgiving break. So the week we come back from Thanksgiving break, that'll be Monday, December 1st. We'll have our last few assignments coming up after that. So that Sunday after Thanksgiving break, December 7th, we'll have a reading review quiz, and there will be one last discussion board post due. Our final exam will occur on the 10th and the 11th. We'll get more info about this later on. But like the midterm, you will need to have the Respondus Lockdown browser with your webcam enabled. So make sure, please, that you do that. Stay tuned for that. All right, let's talk about this other assignment. Okay, so when you go into your Blackboard, if you scroll down, you will see a new folder added underneath the 70s and 80s called Extra Credit Image Analysis. Go ahead and click on that and open the actual assignment. Note again, this is due the Tuesday of Thanksgiving break. I know this is a break, but Kilgore students are not on break Monday and Tuesday, hence you having this assignment due Monday or Tuesday. When you open it, the instructions are in a PDF, so you'll need to click on View Instructions. And there is the PDF. That's also where you will submit your assignment. All of the stuff you will need is in this one PDF, but you will need to handwrite and either print out or copy something else. So let me make this a little bigger so it's easier to see on the screen for us right now. Basically, you'll be looking at 8 images of famous American artwork and analyzing all 8 of those. 7 of those you will pick from examples that I provide down lower in the PDF. The 8th one you will pick. That can be anything you want as long as it was made in the United States of America and it occurred after 1877, which is when this course started. So please don't go with the Boston Massacre example. That's the example I give you in here. Please don't go with the first photograph of a president, John Quincy Adams, but pick something from 1877 through, we're going to say about 2005. Usually when we say history, we refer to things that are at least 20 years old. All right, so the instructions, it tells you again that it is due Tuesday, November 25th at 11:55 p.m. Late submissions will not be accepted. Points possible. This is the big thing that people have asked. What will they get? This will add 25 points to your midterm exam. So by boosting your midterm, that's worth 20% of your overall course grade. You can see how that will impact your overall average. So definitely want to do this. Instructions, again, you'll choose 7 below and 1 of your own. For each piece of work, each of these 8 things, you will handwrite them. This is not typing. There has been too much copying and pasting from AI sites, so this at least needs to be handwritten. you can either print out 8 copies of the instruction sheet, the analysis sheet below, or you can get 8 blank sheets of paper and just copy these questions down. So you do not need a printer to do this. You can just get a spiral notebook and 8 sheets of paper and copy those questions. Back to the instructions. Once all 8 of these are complete, use your phone and put all 8 of them into one document. You can go to Google Docs, take 8 photos on your phone, insert those 8 photos into one Google Doc. You can submit the Google Doc. I think it's easiest to download it as a PDF, but if you don't know, you can do that with the Google Doc. But go ahead and submit your 8 handwritten analyses. Make sure, again, you do this before the deadline. I know I'm repeating this, but it's important to know, which is Tuesday, November 25th. That's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving by 11:55 p.m. It will lock at 11:55 p.m. Again, do not use AI. This is your own thoughts. This is, I think, a fairly easy assignment, although it might take you a little bit of time to do it just by analyzing the artwork. So you can see I've provided, I don't know, maybe 15 different images from throughout American history, going back to the late 1800s up to fairly close to the present time. And I want you to find ones that speak to you, whichever 7 of these you like. For each one, again, you'll fill this out. And I'm going to go through an example using something not pictured, a Boston Massacre picture. That's from the other semester, so you wouldn't do that. But I think you'll be able to get the gist of what we're doing. So let's check it out. Okay, there's a famous image of the Boston Massacre made by Paul Revere. You probably have seen it, so I used that for my example. Quickly scan the artwork. What do you notice first? I see British soldiers firing on colonists. They're standing in a line. Colonists do not look like they're fighting back. The scene is chaotic. You should answer all of this in complete sentences, except for the second part where you're listing people, objects, and activities. So I say the British, the colonists. There's actually a dog. There's a British officer who seems in charge. Objects, smoke, guns, blood, a sword, activities, shooting, and dying. Now, as you look at this, you can see my beautiful handwriting, and you can know that I'm not taking off for handwriting, because who am I to judge handwriting, right? As long as it's legible, you'll still, and accurate, you'll get the points. Write a 1-sentence summation of the work. British officer is commanding other soldiers to shoot unarmed colonists. Try to make sense of it. What do the colors, people, objects represent? What feeling is evoked? The depiction is in order to fire. It evokes a sentiment for the American colonists. The spilled blood is evocative and leads to an empathy for the colonists. Does it depict a different time? Yes, the period is the American Revolution. What was happening at the time history when it was created? The colonists were growing increasingly frustrated with the British. What is the message? This is where you'll need to think. This is your own opinion. What do you think this photograph or artwork means to you? Separate from the message is a significance, right? Why is this such an iconic piece? Why do people still talk about it today? Why have you probably seen this image before? Why have people in your family around you seen this image before? What makes it so significant? So again, that's one example. You will do this for 8 total pieces. Any 7 of the ones that you would like from what I provided, and then you choosing your own one for your 8th one. If you have any questions, please send me a message. If you have any issues, please message me or email me. Thank you. I hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving break, and I'll see y'all back in December. Take care.